It is 2:15 a.m. Your life is not lived, it is laminated. You exist in the pitch-black void between the drywall and the concrete studs of room 14 at the Toro Motel, pressed flat inside a heavy manila envelope, next to a brick of peso notes and a snub-nosed revolver you will never fire. The room's ceiling fan wobbles with a rhythmic, sick click, 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 and through the paper-thin partition, you can hear a television tuned to a Spanish-language evangelist whose voice vibrates the dust motes falling onto your spine. Your entire existence is a lie written by a man with shaky hands and a contraband Canon printer 3 months ago. Your photo is a composite of a dead accountant from Guadalajara and a living student from San Diego. Your ink is authentic European stock, smuggled through an air freight hub in Panama. And your signature is a forgery so clean, it practically hums with intent. You don't have feelings, but if you did, you would feel the slow, humid rot of the TJ air, eating through the cheap adhesive, binding your laminate layers together. By 2:45 a.m., the television next door clicks off, replaced by the low, wet cough of the man in room 15 and the distant, tinny bleed of a car horn from the toll road outside. You count the seconds by the fan's wobble. Click, drag, drop, repeat. You remember the smell of the room where you were born. Not a hospital, but the back room of a print shop off Boulevard Diaz Ordaz, where the floor was slick with spilled solvent and the air tasted like bitter zinc. The man who made you called himself El Gordo, though he was thin as a rail and had a habit of biting his cuticles until they bled onto the corner of the security foil. He pressed you under a heated steel plate for 40 seconds. You felt your fibers fuse, your thermal laminate seal shut, locking a fictional identity over empty space. You weren't meant to stay here in this yellow envelope. You were meant to cross the border 12 days ago inside the false bottom of a tool chest in a flatbed truck, but the driver got stopped at the Tecate crossing for a mismatched registration, and the chest went into a municipal impound lot instead of a stash house in Chula Vista. So here you wait, an unspent bullet sitting in a dusty drawer, absorbing the smell of damp carpet and leaking drain pipes. By 2:58 a.m., the silence of the motel corridor shifts. A stray cat claws at the corrugated tin of the ice machine down the breezeway. The metallic screech rattling the loose screws in your wall cavity. You measure the ambient temperature by the way the moisture condenses on the cold concrete block behind you. Every minute feels like an hour spent under a magnifying glass, waiting for the glue holding your edges together to give up under the weight of the salt air drifting off the Tijuana River channel. You recall the blank sheets of Teflon polymer before they were printed. Smooth, matte, waiting for a destiny they never asked for. You remember the precise weight of the guillotine blade that trimmed your borders to standard European dimensions, shaving off 0.5 millimeter of raw plastic to make sure you fit seamlessly into a leather billfold or the hidden lining of a passport holder. You were engineered for deception, built to look ordinary under the casual glance of a tired border guard, yet carrying the quiet, explosive potential of a new identity. At 3:12 a.m., the floorboards in room 14 groan. It is not the light, sloppy step of the teenager who comes by on weekends to trade pills for cash, nor the heavy, dragging boot of the motel owner collecting the weekly tribute. It is a precise, 2-part scrape of leather against linoleum, followed by a dead silence. A knuckle taps the drywall, right over your head. It is not a knock to enter the room. It is a percussive check, a rhythmic double tap against the exact patch of plaster where the envelope is wedged behind the wooden stud. The wood hums under the impact. The man on the other side is testing the hollow sound, checking to see if the weight behind the wall has shifted since yesterday afternoon. You do not breathe because you cannot. but the paper envelope rusts a fraction of a millimeter against a stray screw. Outside, a dog barks down the alley. The silence stretches for 10 agonizing seconds where you can hear the muffled, rapid thud of the stranger's pulse, or perhaps your own imagined heartbeat echoing in the damp brickwork. The knuckles pull away. A slow, heavy exhale brushes against the outer siding of the room. He knows you are here. He just doesn't want to carry you out through the front door while the night manager is awake. By 3:30 a.m., the tension in the room congeals into something physical. The water pipe inside the bathroom wall shudders as someone 2 doors down turns on a tap, a long, whining vibration that echoes through the wooden studs, like a tuning fork. You feel the resonance pass straight through your paper casing, testing the integrity of the ink, checking whether the laminate will bubble if the humidity rises another 2%. You think about the people who will claim you. They never look at your face. They look at the stamp. They look at the ultraviolet ink that blooms under a black light in a dark office. They care only that the lie is legible, that the barcode scans without a stutter, that the ghost image matches the slope of a jawline belonging to a man who might already be buried in an unmarked plot outside of Rosarito. You are a bridge between 2 lives, constructed entirely out of plastic, ink, and stolen providence. By 3:45 a.m., a key rattles in the exterior deadbolt of room 14. The brass turns with a dry, metallic snap. The door swings open an inch, letting in a thin wedge of sickly yellow sodium light from the parking lot, slicing across the peeling floral wallpaper just 3 feet below your hiding spot. A shadow stretches across the floor. Narrow, deliberate, wearing a stiff canvas jacket that smells faintly of diesel and salt air. The boots cross the threshold, stepping softly over the worn carpet. The man doesn't turn on the overhead light. He moves straight to the side of the washstand, his hand sliding across the laminate surface until his fingers find the loose edge of the baseboard panel beneath the sink. The wood groans as he pries the bottom trim away. A rush of cool outside air hits the cavity where you rest, carrying the sharp scent of exhaust and the distant crash of the Pacific against the breakwater. A calloused thumb reaches into the dark, feeling the rough edge of the manila envelope, hooking the corner and pulling you out into the dim yellow glare. Your laminate catches the light, the forged stamp glowing a faint metallic blue under the doorbeam. You are out of the wall. By 4 a.m., you will be tucked inside an inner pocket, crossing the asphalt toward an idling sedan with Baja plates, traded for a sum that will buy someone 3 days of safety or 3 minutes of absolute ruin. The room behind you falls back into shadow, the fan clicking softly in the empty dark.